The F40 is often regarded as the greatest Ferrari road car ever. It broke new technical boundaries to create an intoxicating driving experience. To put that into perspective, creating a new car is a process that usually takes years. Just think about how many eyebrows that Alfa's 2.5-year development program for the new Giulia raised. Now consider that Bonfiglioli's team designed, tested and built the Ferrari F40 in just 13 months. From the outset, the F40 was built as a race car for the road. Yes, it's a tired old trope, but it actually applies in this case, with a tubular steel space frame chassis, bonded Kevlar panels and carbon fiber doors, bonnet and boot lid. While the 288 GTO had been designed with Group B in mind, the F40 was very much a road car first and foremost, even if it did utilize plenty of race car tech and would go on to race in its LM and Competizione forms. Officially the F40 was built to celebrate Ferrari's 40th anniversary, but in reality it was an Italian two-fingered salute to the Porsche 959. While the 288 was a hugely desirable machine, the Porsche was a technological marvel and posted better figures than the Ferrari, so Maranello responded to wrest the mantle of the world's fastest car back from Stuttgart. During the mid-80s various prototypes were seen pounding the roads around Maranello. These were essentially modified GTOs, known as the Evoluzione, which were the test bed for the F40 and included many of the design cues that would eventually be seen on the new car when it made its debut in 1987. The eventual design was penned by Pininfarina, and it was just about as different as it was possible to be from its predecessor. The low, mean and wide front end flowed via an array of cooling slots and intake ducts to a rear end with a full-width wing and plexiglass engine cover. While there was a brutality to its design, it was made from modern materials, its 11 body sections constructed from a combination of Kevlar, aluminium and carbon fiber. These were bonded to a tubular steel chassis that had the same 2,450 mm wheelbase as the 288 GTO but with wider front and rear tracks. While the layout was the same as the GTO, there was a significant amount of strengthening added to the chassis, with composite materials being bonded to the frame. For the body you could have any color you liked so long as it was red. Under the shapely skin and bolted to the chassis was a classic wishbone suspension setup with coil springs and hydraulic dampers, along with front and rear anti-roll bars. Wheels were center-lock 5-spoke Speedline split rims measuring 8 by 17 inches up front and 10 by 17 at the rear. Inside, the F40's Spartan race car ethos was continued, with virtually no creature comforts bar a pair of cloth-covered bucket seats. The dash and central tunnel were covered in felt, but otherwise all the interior materials were the car's plain or painted composite panels and structure. The first batch of cars even made do with Lexan sliding windows, although later cars ditched these in favor of wind-up items. Even the door release catches were a simple pull wire in the bare door pockets. No wonder the F40 tipped the scales at just 1,100 kilograms. There was nothing minimalistic about the engine's makeup though, with the 90-degree V8 taking off where the 288's unit left off. There was a modest 81cc capacity increase to 2,936 cc, although the overall architecture remained the same, twin overhead cams for each bank, 4 valves per cylinder and twin turbos. The water-cooled blowers were made by IE, which must have led to some interesting conversations with KKK, who supplied the Mark's F1 team. Ferrari tested both companies' products and preferred the drivability offered by the IE units. The turbos were fed by a brace of Beer intercoolers and the injection/ignition setup was by Weber Marelli, and thanks to a slightly higher compression ratio and a rise in boost pressure power was quoted at 478 bhp with torque at 426 pounds-foot, gains of 78 bhp and 60 pounds-foot over the 288 GTO. The transmission followed the 288 with a 5-speed gearbox attached to the rear of the engine. Ferrari claimed a 0 to 62 miles per hour time of 4.1 seconds and a top speed of 201 miles per hour. Despite being made in far greater numbers than many of the Ferrari icons, this hasn't held the F40 back from an appreciation in value. Currently you'd be looking at around £1 million for one of the best examples, a small price to pay for one of the greatest ever Ferraris and the last one to be signed off by the great Enzo himself before his death in 1988.